Hello, dear friends. I have said many times that I am not a channeler, but perhaps I have signed it in humility, because sometimes I wake up with the article written in my mind. A matter of masses or divine inspiration, but I am grateful for the help with humility, silence, and respect. Do you hear the secret of God and keep wisdom for yourself? Seeds are given to be sown, not to be treasured. In reality, all human beings can channel information from heaven. As a joke goes, may your ways, Lord, be unsearchable, come what may. But what I don't see at all clear is that I am the only one who has to walk them. I think I am not the only one. Opinion piece. Mysterious growth. Walking between two worlds. Seeds grow in silence, growing in humility and virtue, growing in wisdom and stature. Mysterious as the path of the wind. Stealthy as the growth of a baby. The ways of the Lord are unsearchable. He does great things and wonders without number. The army of heaven fulfills the divine will. There are paths to overcome the fear of heights. Spring has come and no one knows what it is being like. Rejoice to be alive, but eternity is longer. The new earth will begin with clusters in nature. This planet is destined to be a great sun of divine light. Restrictions decrease in Europe and joy increases. A pandemonium is a place where there is much noise and confusion. The forces of light are far ahead of those of darkness. Silver could bring down the huge bank derivatives complex. European banks panic over Russia-Ukraine crisis. We are in the midst of the ascension process, walking between two worlds. We are on a brink of a major change and expect political bombshells to be announced. Let's start. Seeds grow in humility and silence, in wisdom and stature, until they become gigantic trees. So it is with the awakening of the stellar seeds, of the star seeds, and the liberation movement of humankind, of the animals, and of the planet. Spring has come, and no one knows how it has been. The path, the truth, and the life of each one doesn't have a totally rational explanation, no matter how hard we try to look for a cause. The magic of synchronicity has no explanation. It just happens. The life of every human being is full of explainable things. We seem to be led from above in a gentle and kindly way. Humankind and the planet are also intervened to prevent us from going out of walk and destroying ourselves. But it is an intervention respectful of the free will of every human being. Biblical quotes. The saying goes that the ways of the Lord are inscrutable, but the ways are truly inscrutable are those in which fear prevents us from continuing. We do not know how or why. The ways of the Lord are inscrutable. The ways of the Lord are mysterious as the path of the wind, or as the way in which the human spirit is infused into the body of a child, even in its mother's womb. Persevere in sowing, for you do not know which seed will sprout. Perhaps they will all sprout. Ecclesiastes 11:5. He acts according to his will in the army of heaven. and no one can stay his hand among the inhabitants of the earth, or say to him, What have you done? Daniel 4:35. Inscrutable means that it cannot be known or ascertained. Unfathomable, that which cannot be ascertained, probed, or thoroughly known. Indecipherable, that which cannot be deciphered, perpetrated, or declared to be obscure, intricate, and of difficult intelligence. Mysterious, that encloses or includes in itself mystery, something inaccessible to reason, and that must be the object of faith, something arcane or very recondite, that cannot be understood or explained. Each one arrives where he has to arrive according to his merits. He has made everything appropriate to its time. He has also set eternity in your heart. Yet the human being does not discover the work that God has done from the beginning to the end. Ecclesiastes 3:11. How unfathomable are his judgments, and unsearchable are his ways. How great are your works, O Lord! How deep are your thoughts. Psalm 97:2. Clouds and thick darkness surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. How deep are the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and impenetrable his ways. Romans 11:33. He does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. Job 5:9. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am your God. I give you strength. I help you. I uphold you with my victorious hand. Isaiah 41:10. The prophet Isaiah says that many times our projects and designs do not always coincide with the divine ones, because our divine presence, I am, desires one thing, and our human ego something very different. Usually the divine designs escape our knowledge, and therefore our attempt at reasoning. It is wonderful to be alive. Let him who grows old rejoice every day of his life, but let him also remember that eternity is much longer, and that compared to it everything in this world is in vain. Young man, youth is a treasure. Enjoy every time of it. Do whatever you please. Try everything, but know that you will have to account for everything you do. Keep away suffering and sorrow, but remember that the young man, before whom a whole life is stretched out, can make serious mistakes. Ecclesiastes 11. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers of the law, listening to them and asking them questions. All who heard him were amazed at his intelligence and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were also amazed. And Jesus went back to his parents in Nazareth and obeyed them in everything. But his mother kept all these things in her heart. Jesus continued to grow in wisdom and stature, and enjoyed more and more favor with God and the people. Luke 2:41-52. The Great Change. The Great Change by the Colossians through Marie-José and Dichu. In the new earth that is coming, not in the next few months, but in a few years, and sooner than you think, there will no longer be the power of one man in one country. Little by little, the small human power of your leaders will be replaced by a small group of human beings, wise elders, as they exist in other advanced civilizations, and who respectfully will make decisions not without having informed the people. It may seem surprising to you that a small group of human beings can make all the decisions necessary for the good functioning of a country, but it is important for you to know that on the new earth there will no longer be all these administrations that divide the populations between rich and poor, that threaten you if you don't pay this or that. Money will also no longer exist, and that will pass very quickly. Simply, your leaders will be bewildered, as they will not be able to manufacture by themselves the money that allows them to manage the whole earth. Without money, there will be nothing on earthly human level, but you will still have it. If you wish, the only way out of this decline, understanding who you really are, divine beings whose divine power is greater than the little human power you seemed to possess. As you know, all that which is outside your soul, that is to say, your social life, and all that you live every day in business, in various stores, etc., all this will collapse. There will only remain in your divine strength that will allow you to live the new earth. Its new management, the respect that will spread in every country and on every continent. Of course, all of this will happen gradually because nothing happens suddenly. New earth. As you know, it is not impossible that some of you will experience the beginning of the new earth. It will begin with groups of young humans who want to live a life much more respectful of the earth, humans and all earthly kingdoms. These young humans will gradually form groups to help the earth, more decontamination, more reforestation, more true ecology, more respect for the animal soul. Those who will prepare this are the children of today, and some who are already a little older, and this has already begun. Your leaders, who see it with a bad eye because it disturbs their plans, do not want the media to speak openly about it. Perhaps you can notice that around you, in your villages, more and more groups are being created to help the earth, to make it a clean soil free of all the waste strewn about, to grow local and fruits and vegetables, and to eliminate pollution from transportation, be it trucks or airplanes. What you call bio at present is very relative. This bio will be totally on the new earth. No more air transport as now. Everything will be grown locally, and each country, each region will live on what it produces. Some will say we are going back to the caves, but we are not. This is not a step backwards. It's simply a respectful way to cultivate the land without pesticides that kill it. It is a simple way to promote the culture of each country, and human beings will be able to appreciate the evolution of their own country. On the brink of a great change, this planet is destined to be a planet of light, no longer a planet of darkness. It is no longer a school for progress, for you will have already progressed. The intraterrestrials are ready to step forward at any time to rise up, to emerge from their safe haven within Earth, to mingle once again with all of you, their brothers and sisters. As we, from the stars, are also ready to merge again with our family here on the surface of this planet. For we are all coming together as one again. Souls reunited from all parts of the galaxy, and even beyond the galaxy. It is almost time for this great transition to occur, which is even now finding the great momentum within the people who are spreading the words, spreading the light, spreading the love of freedom, the freedom of choice, and the great convoy that is happening now. The forces of light are far ahead of the forces of darkness, because they know every move that is taken and will be taken, and they are ready to oppose the moves of the evil ones and to defend freedom. Freedom of the people, not just of a few nations, but of the entire planet and of all the people of this planet. Waiting for political changes. The Federation of Light through Blossom Godchild. This will not take long, but political bombshells need to be announced. This change that is to occur is up to you, your energy. That is why you are here. Fulfill the promise you made to yourself and get there, the place within you that you know is waiting for you. There will be great excitement for what is to come, replacing fear and despair. Your remembrance of why you are here will become more evident through feeling your strength and determination. This knowledge cannot be expressed in words, because it is a feeling within you, not necessarily the knowledge of what is happening externally and all the ins and outs of such, however, a feeling of knowing that in reality everything is going to be okay. When you understand this knowledge, you will not be affected as before by fear, disbelief, lies, and all the pandemonium that will unfold. A pandemonium is a place where there is much noise and confusion. Acceptance of this will fill your being with newness, a different kind of renewed energy, a feeling that is very difficult to express, no matter how much confusion there is. You cannot change the truth of your own soul because you are light, truth, and love, and you cannot change this fact. Meaning of this moment. The Meaning of This Moment by Patricia Diana Gota Robles. The Company of Heaven has revealed that since the obsolete paradigms of the past have now been dismantled, an impressive shift of energy, frequency, and consciousness have occurred within our earthly body since the birth of this new decade. Humanity, the elemental kingdom, and Mother Earth will be able to benefit from this unprecedented opportunity in a miraculous way. The key to our success is our willingness to stay focused on the light as we choose to empower ourselves through our creative faculties of thought and feeling only the love-based patterns we wish to co-create for our earthly experience. As a word of encouragement, the Company of Heaven wants us to know that they are well aware of the fact that in many cases the appearances of the outer world have convinced human beings that nothing seems to have changed and things seem to be getting worse by the minute. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The divine intent of the information being shared is to help us understand what is really happening in our lives. The challenge is that we are in the midst of the Earth's ascension process, which means we are literally walking into our feet in both worlds. The vast majority of us vacillate between the etheric memories of what we believe to be true in the third-dimensional frequencies of separation and duality on the old Earth and the sacred knowing of the fifth-dimensional heart-based patterns of unity and reverence for all life on the new Earth. Many of us consciously strive to focus on the truth of our new reality, which is what our divine I Am presence is intuitively revealing to us. However, we keep returning to our old fears, beliefs, and patterns of behavior, because that is what is most familiar to us. Since our thoughts and feelings are creative, when we stick to our old patterns, we hold and empower the very things we strive to transcend. As the saying goes, where our attention is, there we are. Humanity's greatest fear is that if we make the shift from what we thought was the truth to what is really the truth. Everything would fall apart in our life and we wouldn't be able to recover. That particular fear is exactly what our fragmented fear-based human ego has counted on to keep us trapped in its oppressive grip for eons of time. During this cosmic moment, the company of heaven wants us to realize that everything has changed. We are awake now. Our divine I Am presence has been integrated into our earthly body, and our human ego no longer has the ability to unconsciously manipulate us as it used to do. The only thing that keeps us from moving forward in the light is the memory of the fear-based patterns of separation and duality that we choose to empower through our thoughts, feelings, words, actions, memories, and beliefs. With the changes we have all experienced recently, we are in the best position we have ever been in to make the quantum shift from the third-dimensional illusions of separation and duality to the deep fifth-dimensional truth of oneness and reverence for all life. This has provided the sacred space for our divine I Am presence to clear the equivalent of the hard drive in our etheric body that holds those patterns from our past. Our etheric body is the place where the memories of our entire earthly sojourn are recorded. Love is eternal, so any thought, feeling, word, action, memory, or belief that is based on love that we have ever expressed in any time frame or dimension, both known and unknown, is permanently encoded in our etheric records and in our causal body. If any of these obsolete patterns come up for you, do not judge yourself. Simply acknowledge them and invoke the violet flame to transmute that energy back into light. Then ask your divine I Am presence to guide you intuitively so that you can respond with love for a heart-based place. There is an expression that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. This is true when we strive to enhance what we are empowering with our thoughts, feelings, words, actions, memories, and beliefs. So be consistent and pay attention moment by moment. Don't give up. This is an unprecedented opportunity. Please don't let it pass by you. Trackers. First, led by Canadian tracker and farmer protesters against the mandates, the freedom movement around the world is stirring up the masses, which could lead to martial law and change from the Crown Maritime Act to the Constitutional Act of 1776. Second, Alberta border protesters say they will protest until all restrictions are lifted. Protesters blocking the main US border crossing in Alberta say they will not leave as long as federal mandates and restrictions remain in place. Third, police threaten to arrest protesting truckers. Ottawa police tell protesting Canadian truckers they will be fined or arrested and their trucks impounded. Fourth, Texas investigates shutdown of Convoy for Freedom fundraiser. The Texas government said the crowdfunding platform engaged in deceptive action after it froze donations to protesters in Canada. Fifth, the first Freedom Convoy has just left Nice. It must pass through Provence, Avignon, and Lyon before converging in Paris this Friday, with other convoys from all over France. Reset News. First, yesterday was surprisingly quiet in all news areas. It is very unusual to be so quiet during the week. When it is so quiet, it is always a good sign. Second, the UK announces that it is removing all mandates. Third, restrictions decreases in Europe and joy increases. Europe begins to say goodbye to restrictions and a certain sense of freedom in base cities like Stockholm, which is experiencing its first day without restrictions. The inhabitants of the Swedish capital have not noticed much the lifting of the few remaining restrictions, but the atmosphere has changed radically. Fourth, US students march in protest against the mandates. Fifth, on Tuesday, February 8th in Canada, the premiers of Alberta and Saskatchewan announced the end of the mandates. Sixth, the Netherlands. The Dutch cabinet considers removing most restrictions, including health passports, by the end of the month. Seventh, European and US regulators tells banks to prepare for the threat of an alleged Russian cyber attack. 8. Subway earthquakes in Switzerland, Geneva, Zurich and Basel, and southern Germany in the Black Forest. 9. French money factory on fire. More than 30 people were injured and hundreds were evacuated from a beginning money printing plant in Chamalières, France. 10. Central banks desperately buy gold. What do they know that you don't? 11th. Silver could bring down the huge bank derivatives complex. 12. European banks panic over Russia-Ukraine crisis. Italian, French and Austrian banks are the most exposed. European banks are worried that the payment system that connects them with Russia could become a victim of the Ukraine crisis. Banks describe Russia's possible disconnection from SWIFT as an atomic bomb for the industry, because it would prevent payment of debts, he said. 13. Parliamentary inquiry reveals high cost of Brexit to UK. The UK Parliament's Public Accounts Committee unveils the high economic and bureaucratic cost of Brexit in its latest report of leaving the European Union. 14. High aluminium prices threaten to increase the price of consumer products. Aluminium prices on international markets reached their highest levels in the 2008 crisis, and the trend continues to rise. If this situation persists, it threatens to raise the prices of a myriad of derivative products, from canned soft drinks and smartphones to electronic cars and airplanes. 15. Near 50 journalists were killed in 2021. A total of 47 journalists were killed in 2021 in attacks against them, bombings or amid crossfire, according to the annual report of the International Federation of Journalists. Digital currency. First, IMF bets on digital currency. The president of the International Monetary Fund herself believes that the digital currency of each central bank will bring unprecedented change and a new era for money. Some 100 central banks are already exploring the launch of their own digital currency. Second, all countries are pushing to implement a digital currency through their own central banks to compete with cryptocurrency. Third, the purpose of digital currency is to serve as a catalyst for global economic reform. Fourth, the push for countries to implement their own digital currency is a precursor to the implementation of the quantum financial system. Fifth, each country transitioning to digital currency will undergo currency revaluation based on multiple factors such as resources and assets. Sixth, recent rumors from anonymous sources suggest that after Iraq successfully transitions to digital currency, the Iraqi dinar will become so strong that it will overtake the dollar and take its place as the world's reserve currency. 7th, the Earth Alliance is actively countering the syndicate's moves to destroy the system being put in place. 8th, the quantum financial system is the next evolution of the world economy. 9th, the current financial system is in its final stretch as it begins to fail and proves that it is no longer a viable system for the world economy. 10th, a black swan event is expected to occur that would break the current financial system. 11. GSERA is the initiative to bring about monumental changes worldwide. 12. The best course of action for all is to survive and resist while the coalition works behind the scenes. 13. Scientists take major step toward harshening star power. Oxford-based scientists announced that they have reached a major milestone in the quest to make nuclear fusion a viable low-carbon energy source. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.